He trained alone before sunrise, fists cutting through cold air, breath controlled, muscles tight, mirrors shaking with every strike, because the Chinese kung fu master believed he had reached a level no Filipino could ever touch. And as sweat dropped to the floor, he laughed quietly, remembering interviews where he said Filipino martial arts were too rough, too basic, too small to matter in real combat. And in his mind, the story was already written because he had titles, followers, and years of praise telling him he was the best. And when cameras arrived to film another training session, he did not hold back. He spoke boldly, saying that Filipino fighters relied on chaos instead of skill, that their movements lacked elegance, and that in a real fight they would fall quickly. Those words spread fast, replayed again and again, until they reached a Filipino training ground thousands of miles away, where a lone Filipino martial artist paused mid-drill, eyes narrowing, not angry, not offended, just focused, because Filipino martial arts were never taught to answer insults with words, only with readiness, and when the challenge came public and direct, the Filipino accepted without drama, and the day of the combat demonstration arrived inside a neutral combat hall. Lights bright, floor clean, cameras rolling, the kung fu master entered first, calm and confident, performing fluid forms, each movement precise, slow, controlled, drawing applause. Then the Filipino stepped in. No long routine, no display, just a short bow and stillness, hands relaxed, eyes alert. And when the signal sounded, the first exchange happened fast, too fast for cheers. The kung fu master attacked with wide-flowing strikes, confident in distance. But the Filipino closed the gap instantly, angles sharp, footwork tight. Redirecting force, striking limbs, controlling space, the room shifted. Observers leaned forward. The second exchange came harder. A kung fu master increased speed, combinations flying, but the Filipino adapted, moving inside attacks, disrupting balance, forcing resets. No wasted movement, just survival logic, and when the demonstration ended, silence replaced applause, not because of defeat, but because expectations cracked. And that silence is where the army entered, not soldiers rushing in, but uniformed military analysts stepping forward, explaining that what was seen matched battlefield realities, and they requested extended simulations, and now the scenes multiplied. Protective gear on, weapons introduced, training blades, sticks, confined spaces, and the kung fu master struggled to adjust as the Filipino thrived, because Filipino martial arts were built around weapons first, hands second, and the army instructors nodded as they saw weapon transitions. Disarms, control under pressure. Then the Navy stepped in, bringing ship corridor simulations, narrow metal hallways, low ceilings, sudden turns, alarms blaring. And here the Filipino fighter moved like he belonged there, adapting instantly, using walls, corners, timing, while the kung fu master's wide movements became limitations. And scene after scene played out. Low-light drills, fatigue rounds, uneven footing, and each time the Filipino adjusted without panic. Because this was not sport, this was survival training, and the army officers spoke clearly now, saying this is why Filipino techniques are studied quietly, why they appear in close-quarters training, why they endure. And when the kung fu master watched the replays, slowed down frame by frame, he stopped smiling. Not humiliated, but humbled, realizing that refinement does not always look beautiful. Sometimes it looks efficient, and when asked to speak again, he chose his words carefully, acknowledging that he judged without understanding, that combat truth is not about pride, and that Filipino martial arts deserve respect. And the final scene showed Filipino soldiers and sailors training together, calm, disciplined, focused, not celebrating victory, but continuing preparation. Because that is the Filipino way, and if this story opened your eyes to real combat truth and real respect, then share it, like it, and stay with us, because the next story will challenge even more assumptions.